Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, a few weeks ago in one of my midweek 180s, I asked you what your thoughts were on the prettiest car ever made. And there were some really interesting suggestions, and it spurred me to make this video. So this is the top 5 prettiest cars ever made, according to you peddlers, with a little bit of help from me. Okay, we're going to start at number 5. And a bit of a modern classic. Number 5 is the Alfa Romeo 8C Competizione. The 8C Competizione was first seen as a concept at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 2003, but went into full production between 2007 and 2010. Designed by Wolfgang Egger, it was aimed at reflecting the styling of the 50s and 60s Alfas, and the name Competizione referred to the 1948 6C 2500 Competizione. Now, I remember the first time I saw one of these things, and I just think the lines and the styling, it's got that modern car look, but the beautiful curvy shapes that we saw in the kind of 50s and 60s, for me, when all the really beautiful cars in the world were made, and this top 5 kind of reflects that. Production of the coupe was announced in 2006, and although originally only in Alfa red and black, they then evolved the colour palette, so there's a range of different colours, but they only made 500 cars. And I think the first time I saw one was actually at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, because Alfa Romeo that year had the central feature in front of the main house, and there was an 8C on the central feature. Now, little known fact, by the way, that Alfa Romeo statue from the Goodwood Festival of Speed in 2010 is the only central feature that still exists. All the other central features at Goodwood are basically bespoke pieces of artwork put up for the event and then taken down and scrapped afterwards. But the Alfa one was taken down, actually went to the Cast Sculpture Museum or a sculpture exhibition and park at Goodwood for a few years, and it's now back at Alfa, but it's the only one still in existence. Under the bonnet we had a 4.7 litre V8 producing 450 PS, 471 Newton meters of torque, and that was good enough for 0 to 62 in 4.2 seconds and 181 miles an hour top end. But if you've ever heard one of these things on the road, it's not the speed, it's not the performance, the noise. They make such a beautiful noise. Then in 2008 they decided to chop the roof off and do 500 Spider versions, which are equally as beautiful. Okay, time for the 4th prettiest car on our list, and for this I'd best cue up some Matt Monro. Of course, it's the Lamborghini Miura, and like many of us, I think I probably fell in love with this car the first time I ever watched the Italian Job, and then when you see one in person, they're such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Unfortunately, the one in the Italian Job, well, it didn't star for very long, did it? So the Miura was made from 1966 to 1973, yet it is a car I love, even though I was born in 72. But yeah, very, very beautiful car. But interestingly, it was the first supercar ever made with a mid-engine layout and 2 seats. And although there is some debate, many people actually say it's really the first car that was attributed the moniker supercar. Well, if you look on Wikipedia, there's a bit of a debate on that one. The first Miura was the P400. That was powered by a 3.9 litre V12 with 350 PS. They only made 275 of those between 1966 and 1969. Then came the P400S in 1968, and then finally the P400 SV in 1971 with 385 PS, a 0 to 60 of 6.7 seconds and a top end of 171 miles per hour. A beautiful car. My favourite little touch around the headlights. You've got those little eyelashes. Just a very beautiful car. So, what's number 3 on our list? Okay, so number 3 on our list, we're going back to our friends at Alfa Romeo and to a car I'd never actually heard of before until the Midweek 180. But when I googled it and looked at the pictures, oh my goodness, what a beautiful, beautiful car. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Now, they only made 18 examples of this car between 1967 and 1969. The 33 Stradale actually derived from the Tipo 33 sports prototype. And an interesting fact you may not know, but Stradale basically just means road going. I just love the way that Italian words, when you stick them on cars, sound so cool. Stradale, road going. Quattroporte, 4 doors. I love it. That's the best thing about Italian cars. And the 33 Stradale was also the first production car with dihedral or butterfly doors. We see it all over the place now on McLarens and so on, but the 33 Stradale is where it all started. And finally, some engine stats, powered by a 2 litre V8 with only 230 PS and 206 Newton meters, but it was a really light car, so it could do 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds and 160 miles per hour. Okay, we're getting to the sharp, pointy end. Number 2 in our prettiest cars of all time list is one you might actually think would be number 1, but oh no, it's not. It's second. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Jaguar E-Type. Now, the E-Type was made between 1961 and 1975, but at launch in 1961, a certain Italian gentleman by the name of Enzo Ferrari called the E-Type the most beautiful car ever made. Now, he made some pretty beautiful cars, so if he reckons it's pretty, then it's got to be high up on the list. Now, I'm sure many of you know the E-Type was actually based on the Le Mans winning D-Type. And at the time when it launched, it had some fairly leery launch figures. It claimed to be able to do 150 miles an hour and get to 60 miles an hour in under 7 seconds. Those two numbers were reasonably debatable and probably a little bit dubious. It wasn't nearly that fast, but boy was it good looking. Now, you may also know that the E-Type was available as a coupe and a roadster. And I'm going to basically hang my hat on the Roadster. I think the Roadster is the most beautiful, stunning of the E-Types. The coupe's nice, but the Roadster does it for me every day of the week. Now, the history of the E-Type is quite complex, and I'm not going to do it justice in this video, but let's have a little bit of a rundown, shall we? So first we have the Series 1, made between 1961 and 1968, powered by a 3.8 litre straight 6 and then later a 4.2 litre straight 6, producing a mere 265 bhp. Then came the Series 2 between 1968 and 1971, still powered by a straight 6 but just the 4.2. Now, there were a few body styling modifications predominantly for the American market, which obviously meant they completely messed it up and it didn't look nearly as beautiful as the Series 1. And then finally, the Series 3 was made between 1971 and 1975 and had a 5.3 litre V12, which sounds awesome, but it only produced 272 horsepower. Now, in 2008, the Daily Telegraph ran a poll for the 100 most beautiful cars ever made. And guess what won? Yep, the Jaguar E-Type. But it's not going to win my list. It's close, but no cigar. What could be number 1? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my number 1 prettiest car of all time. I will have to admit that this is one that I think is the most pretty and a suggestion by me, but I hope you agree. I give you the Ferrari 330 P3/4. Look, there's no other way of describing this car. It is eye-achingly beautiful. It's just curves and lines and the sound and the passion of a Ferrari. I just think it is beautiful, and it's such a shame for me they don't make cars. The trends nowadays seem to be lots of creases and harsh lines. This thing is just fluid, it's beautiful, it's sculpted, and oh, it's beautiful. Now, let's just give you a little bit of the history of this car. Okay, take yourselves back to 1966 and the rivalry that stood between Ferrari and Ford. Henry Ford having stated that they were going to basically go to Le Mans and win. And Ferrari, well, they weren't very happy about that. So in 1966, Ferrari had the P3, and it was a car that was on paper brilliant, but it proved to be not the most reliable car in the world. So when they took it to Le Mans in 66, GT40s came first, second and third, and a P3 didn't even finish the race. Now, Mr. Ferrari really wasn't very happy about that, so they dug into their bank balance and found some budget that they really didn't have. And in the next year, in 1967, came to the track with the P4, a much, much better car. Interestingly, when they went to Le Mans, they didn't get first place. That was still claimed by a GT40, but they did get second and third. So where does the P3/4 come from? Well, no great shakes. They basically kind of merged the two things together. So the P/4 has the engine from the P3 because it was a slightly more reliable engine than the one in the P4, but the body of the P4. And I think they're beautiful. And in fact, lots of people think they're beautiful. Probably one of the most famous P3/4 owners is Lance Stroll, the owner of Racing Point, the Formula One team. And actually the picture I've just shown you is Lance Stroll, and looks like Jackie Stewart in the driver's seat. Now, I know you like your engine stats, so underneath the bonnet is a 4-litre 24-valve V12 producing 420 bhp. But again, for me, don't get me wrong, it's a very, very quick car. It would do 200 miles an hour down the Mulsanne Straight at Le Mans, but it's just the noise, and I just think it is a beautiful, beautiful car. Now, I would love to know what you think about my choice of the top 5 prettiest cars out there. No doubt there will be some debate. There will be some cars that aren't on my list that you think should be. Please, if there are, put them in the comments below. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, a little bit different from me. I just really wanted to bring you a couple of those cars and talk a little bit about them. And I've never really done a compilation video before, so I hope you enjoyed. Again, let me know what you think. Should I do more of these? But if you've enjoyed that video, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol for plenty more content to come, and I'll see you on the next film, guys. But you take care. Drive safe.